welcome to another video. Now this one has a couple of extra processes in it, but in the end I think it looks awesome. It turned out really good. I was really happy with it. I actually had somebody ask me to do a page on hexagons. Now, before you all start commenting and saying, Karen, it's not a hexagon, I figured that out once I had coloured the sheet in. They're actually octagons, and that's okay. I was asked to do a page with hexagons, and well, hexagons and octagons, they're pretty close. So only two sides are different. So hey, it's all good. So what I did there was I grabbed my black archival ink, which is waterproof when it dries, and I've used my splatter stamp, which is from Uniquely Creative. It's called the Splatter Mark Making Stamp. Now, I could have just flicked paint all over it, but I wanted it to be in a specific, I wanted it to look organised, not just heaps in this spot and none in the other spot. So then I thought, you know what? I'm going to use a product I haven't used for a while because I want to get us all thinking about the products that we bought ages ago that clearly have not gone off, but we just don't use as much. So I pulled out my watercolor gel pastels, and I got these from Montmartre. So you can buy them online, or you can get them from, I buy mine from the $2 shop if you're in Australia. And as soon as I started using these, I'm like, why haven't I used these? Why have I had them stashed in the back of the cupboard? But I think we all are guilty of doing that, especially, we buy new products, so we want to use the new ones. So I'm urging you, jump in, have a look at something you haven't used for a while, and maybe you can think of something different to do with it. I know I used to use these a lot before, and I would do this, I'd wet it, and then I would use like the package bag, your packaging technique. I would do that quite a lot. But today on this one, I wanted to be able to get the colours quite bright. Now, at the moment, they don't look they don't look as bright as I really want them. I am always guilty of going with the pastel or the light colours first, then realizing it's not giving me the result I want, and then going in with the bright one. I don't know why I do that. I really need to just go straight in with the bright one. So as you can see, I've got an old lunchbox, and I've got heaps of these in here. I have the Faber-Castell ones, and I've got the Montmartre colours. Now, the reason I bought the Faber-Castell ones is because they had some fluoro colours. So I wanted to give those a crack, and I did, and I liked them, but I'm not using fluoro in this one. You can see them off to my right hand side, the colours that I've already used. They're different blues and oranges. Now the reason I've pulled orange, because again, this is twice in a week I've pushed myself out of my boundary and I've used orange. So one of the videos from last week had orange in it as well. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to hero the octagon. It was meant to be a hexagon, but tatoes. So obviously it was around about here that I realised that they were octagons, and I wasn't going to stop because they're actually turning out really nice. I actually really liked them. So, when you do like if it wasn't quite hitting the mark with the colour I was using or something like that, I probably would have started again. But nah, I am charging forward with the octagons. So I did skip that. You can see on my right hand side, see those other ones that I did? They don't have any stamps on them. It was when I added this lot to the black background, I realised I didn't want those other ones. They were way too light for what I wanted. and they didn't have the black stamps on them, so, and they just turned out a little bit better. So now you're seeing how I then, after I did all that, I decided that I was going to use some embossing powder on them, just to give them a nice shine and whatnot. Now you can see me sticking these to a bit of chipboard and or hard card, whatever you want to call it, and I'm stamping them with my Versamark water. Look at me, I'm just dropping things everywhere. So I use my Versamark ink pad, and it's just a sticky ink pad. If you don't have the Versamark one, you know, there's heaps of them. There's Poppycraft, there's Ranger's got one. Like there's a plethora of them, but I have that particular one. And what I decided to do is, initially I wanted the texture to still be there, so I just used the super fine powder, which was the Crafter's Choice one. That's the ultra fine embossing powder in clear. But then I realized, you know what, I want it to be quite thick, like glass. That's what I want to do. So I pulled out my ultra thick embossing powder in clear. Now I do have issues with this because normally when I use that embossing powder, I heat from underneath it, and that way you don't get that sort of stippling on top. However, because of I'm trying out this thing, I saw it on a lady's YouTube channel, and I cannot pronounce her name. Her name is, let me have a quick look. I can't really pronounce her name, and I've only literally very, very recently found her. I've never seen her before. I think she's German from memory, and her name is Gemma. I think her name's Gemma. Maybe she's Russian, German or Russian. She's got a really strong accent, and short hair. And I saw on her page the other day, because I'm always looking for ways to think outside the box to create different things. Don't worry, I'm coming back. That was my daughter's boyfriend turned up, and we were meeting the boyfriend for the first time today. And so I stopped everything to go out and not be rude and talk to him and blah, blah, blah. And I forgot to turn my recording off. So sorry about that. Now, as you can see how it's quite, it looks like water with a little bit of a wave to it. So what I decided to do, and I was adding more ultra thick to it, but because I couldn't heat it from the bottom up, I was having an issue with it. It wasn't working. I've tried, and I bought the biggest bottle of the stuff, and I sort of have issues with it. Works a lot better if you can heat it from underneath with that ultra thick embossing powder. But what I actually did is I ended up putting the Crafter's Choice, the thin one, on the top, and that sort of fixed it. But yeah, it's just something that I struggled with a little bit. But I like them the way they look when I finally finished. And again, I'm just going to mention, if you have not bought coffee filters and you do embossing, it's a game changer. It makes it so much easier, way less messy. And the other thing I found out by watching someone, I don't know if it was the same, it wasn't the same lady, it was somebody else, I'm sure of it. I'm sure it was someone else, but I don't know who it was. And they said that they have a microfiber towel in their embossing box. Again, game changer. Because it blows when you put the heat gun on it. It actually gets trapped in the towel, so it doesn't go everywhere. So again, there's another tip. So what I decided to do, you can see on a couple of these bits that there's a bit of embossing powder that it was stuck to the post-it note. So my little stick there, this is what I was trying to get to. My little stick there with the blue bit on it, that's actually a post-it note, and I've cut the bottom of the post-it off, and I've got the sticky side up. So I just stick the hexagons to it and put the sticky Versamark on it, and then hold the handle, and it was so much better than getting your fingers all in the sticky. The only thing I have to work on is, what did I do? It worked pretty well, but I don't know whether it's because I buy the cheap post-it pads. I'm not sure. Could be the reason. But I will endeavour to try and continue to work on something that works well with embossing powder. Now, here I'm having a bit of a play. I'm trying to work out the hexagons, or the octagons, I keep calling them X's. And this is what I decided. I thought, you know what? The photos I'm scrapbooking is a little bit funny. Why I've used orange is because look at the size of the carrot my daughter, now I think she was 2.5, maybe 3, and she wanted a carrot, and she went to the fridge and she got herself the world's biggest carrot. The Bugs Bunny would be proud of this carrot. That's how big it was. And I ended up snapping a couple of shots of it. And the other day when I was on the computer and I was organising photos, which, oh my God, how annoying is that? And I saw this photo of my daughter with her giant carrot. And I'm like, that needs to be scrapbooked. And because it was nothing overly special, just watching my child eat a giant carrot, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to use some shapes that don't really mean anything, that don't really have much to, there's not really anything else going on to create a theme around. So that's why I decided I love my shiny, I love my bling, and I did spray them, these octagons, I did spray them with my homemade gold mica spray. There is a video how to make that in my playlists if you are interested in that. And that stuff is still going strong. Seriously, it is awesome. So good. I need to actually make some more of that particular gold up because I really like that one. It's really, really bright and shiny. I love it. So I sprayed it with the gold mica spray before I put the embossing powder on. And I absolutely love how these turned out. They're so nice. I was going to raise them up more and sort of have some up and some down, but I changed my mind. I raised up a couple of them in the ones in the white, little white squares. I raised those couple up, but yeah, that was it. So, yeah, I'm happy with this page. I really am. It was so simple. It took me the longest amount of time to make it because I started something, then I had to stop. Then I started something else and I had to stop. And because when I'm doing processes like the embossing or the stamping and the watercolouring and whatever else, I find that because it's so step by step by step by step, it does take a little bit longer. But as always, I have left everything in the channel, on the channel. I haven't edited the daylights out of it. I have left most of it there. That's the gold mica spray that I just flicked all over the gold back because I felt like it needed something, but I wasn't too sure what, and that seems to work quite well. Oh, I'm so happy I've got my multi-purpose tool again. Yay! That thing is so easy. If you use a lot of stickers and moving things around quite a lot, honestly, it's a game changer. That is the one tool that if I ever had to push on anybody ever, that is the one tool I would suggest people get because it makes life so much easier. You know what I did notice? I actually used it to get the cut files off the CRICUT mat, and dead set, it lifted them off beautifully. It was so good. Now I'm just running around the outside edge. If you're wondering what's going on and why I'm sort of so jumpy, because my daughter's brushing my hair. She wanted to brush my hair while I was scrapbooking. So I'm like, okay. That pen that I just used is my UNI-BALL Gel Impact Pen in gold. Here's the close-ups for you guys. If you like what I did, there's heaps more where that came from. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. It is free. It helps out my channel a little tiny bit. And I post 6 videos a week. And I usually have Sundays off. But tomorrow, you're getting a bonus. So, thank you very much for watching. See you guys. Bye.